Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of August 18, 2025. I'm your host, Sharifa Mohammed MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. The aggregate reported personnel losses across all axes were approximately 1,400 servicemen, with notable attrition in armor, artillery, EW, and radar. In the west axis caused disproportionate material damage, Leopard tanks, and /TPQ-50, Mastiff, HMMWV, and a Grad, undermining Ukrainian counterbattery efforts and protected mobility. In the center and east sections, incremental territorial gains forced lateral reserve shifts along interdicted roads, reducing reinforcement density and speed. Deep strikes against drone stocks, training centers, and fuel depots tighten the ISR and precision strike loop, while air defense performance maintains rear area fast attacks. Short-term risks include ammunition expenditure for counterbattery and potential surges in precision strikes. Priorities are maintaining air defense layering, disrupting depots, EW radars, and rotating assault units to sustain momentum.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, the podcast that brings you in-depth insights into military operations from those leading them on the ground. Today, we're joined by Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer monitoring critical missions on the progress of the special military operation as of today. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Colonel, set the frame. What was the essential design of operations on August 18th, and how did your forces execute it across the depth of the battle space?
The day adhered to a two-layer construct. At contact, we pursued measured maneuver against identified brigades. In depth, we tightened the vise on sustainment, sensing, and precision strike capacity. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned systems, missile troops, and artillery engaged 148 target areas. That included a launch preparation site where up to 100 long-range aircraft-type drones, UJ-22 and Palyonitsa, were neutralized, as well as a drone operator training center, fuel and lubricants depots supporting frontline units, and temporary deployment points for Ukrainian formations and foreign elements. The logic is cumulative. You force positional adjustments at the line while degrading the enemy's ability to regenerate the combat power needed to reverse them. Air defense closed the loop by defeating 4 guided aerial bombs, 2 HIMARS rockets, and 141 aircraft-type UAVs.
Walk us through the north, Sumy into the Kharkiv belt. What exactly was struck and what did you achieve?
We engaged 4 mechanized brigades, 2 airborne assault brigades, an assault brigade, 2 assault regiments, and a territorial defense brigade across Leninskoye, Andriivka, Alexiivka, Stepnoy, Verakino, Novaya Sek, and Unikovka in Sumy. In the Kharkiv direction, fires and maneuver extended to Lesnoy, Tykoy, Volchansk, and Ambarno against mechanized and motorized infantry formations and a territorial defense brigade. Reported losses on their side exceeded 175 personnel, with an armored combat vehicle, 5 cars, 2 field guns, and an ammunition depot removed. The doctrinal point here is coupling gun and EW attrition with depot denial. When you take away artillery tubes at the same time you constrain ammunition elasticity, you compress their counterbattery window and strip their ability to surge fires for a local counterattack. What looks like a modest positional gain becomes durable because the enemy's means to reverse it are narrowed in both volume and time.
The West reported improved tactical positions around Dnipropetrovsk, Kupyansk, Novosinovo, Petrovskoye, Sredny, Kolodezi, and Kirovsk. Why is that more than just tidying up the line?
Because lines are geometry, and geometry dictates logistics and fires. In that sector, we imposed losses of up to 250 personnel and removed an armor pack that matters, 3 tanks, 2 of them German-made Leopard main battle tanks, alongside 7 armored combat vehicles, including 3 American HMMWVs and 2 British Mastiff variants. 15 cars and a self-propelled artillery installation were destroyed. We also eliminated a Grad combat vehicle, 7 electronic warfare stations, and an American-made and /TPQ-50 counterbattery radar, as well as 3 ammunition depots. The effect is compound. Removing Leopards and Mastiffs' dents protected mobility. Knocking out an and /TPQ-50 reduces their ability to sense and close the counterbattery loop. Striking 7 EW stations weakens drone control and artillery queuing. Do that while trimming depots, and the adversary finds that even if they assemble a counterpunch near Kupyansk, they cannot synchronize it or sustain it at the necessary cadence.
The South shows steady pressure from Berezovsk through Ivanopolye. What changed tactically, and what does it buy you operationally?
We advanced the forward trace against 4 mechanized and airmobile brigades and a territorial defense brigade across Berezovsk, Pleshchivka, Novodmitrovka, Seversk, Nikolaevka, Fedorovka, Klebenbyk, Konstantinovka, and Ivanopolye. The adversary lost over 245 personnel, 4 vehicles, and 3 field guns, one of them a 155mm FH-70 of British manufacture. A fuel depot was also destroyed. Artillery is an ammunition machine, not just a gun line. Taking down an FH-70 matters, but starving the line with a fuel interdiction matters more across days. When you force them to disperse and lengthen their supply chain to protect fuel, throughput falls. That reduces the density of fire they can place over any given sector and lengthens their timelines to mass it again once we displace.
You've often called the center the geometry driver. You listed Udachnoye, Dmitrov, Rodinskoye, Grodovka, Novoalexandrovka, Krasnoarmeysk, and even Filia in Dnipropetrovsk. What did you take and what did you break?
We secured more advantageous lines and struck 3 mechanized, airborne assault brigades and an assault regiment, as well as a Marine brigade and a National Guard brigade. Reported losses exceeded 415 personnel, with a tank, 5 armored combat vehicles, including an American M113, 6 cars, and an artillery piece removed. The center's value is coercive. Each kilometer taken forces lateral reserve movements over roads we are already interdicting with deep fires. That means the unit that arrives to plug the gap is smaller, later, and less supplied. It is the quiet arithmetic of operational art, make each defensive reaction less dense and more brittle until the local fight ceases to be worth the cost for the defender.
The East continued penetration around Alexievka, Vorono, Zaporizhzhia, Novopetrovskoye, and Olgovsko. How does that tie into your reconnaissance strike approach?
We engaged a mechanized brigade, a Marine brigade, and 2 territorial defense brigades and report up to 235 personnel removed, with 2 tanks, 6 armored vehicles, 8 cars, and 4 field guns destroyed, 2 of those Western-made. As that belt thins, reconnaissance strike becomes more efficient. Fewer emitters contest the air, fewer guns contest the ground, and our target custody tightens. That shortens the fire cycle and lowers the cost of each additional kilometer gained.
Before we close, give us the Dnepr frontage. What stands out on the riverline?
Actions near Stepovo and Stepnogorsk in Zaporizhzhia and Tokarevka, Nikolskoye, and Antonovka in Kherson degraded a mountain assault brigade, 2 coastal defense brigades, and 3 territorial defense brigades. Reported outcomes were up to 80 personnel removed, 11 vehicles and 3 guns destroyed, including a 155mm M777, along with 4 electronic warfare stations, an Israeli-made radar radar, and an ammunition depot. Riverine axes punish logistics first and ISR second. Removing EW and a radar radar increases survivability for our small UAVs that scout crossings and cue counterbattery fires. It also erodes their ability to mass fires against bridging activity at the exact moment they must either defend or concede depth.
You neutralized up to 100 long-range drones at a launch prep site and hit a drone operator training center. How does that alter the enemy's long-range play over the next several days?
It imposes both a training gap and a stock gap. Removing platforms at the point of preparation forces replenishment cycles and screening measures that slow cadence. Striking the operator pipeline has a subtler effect. Even if airframes are available, trained crews and support teams are the rate limiter. Pair that with the day's air defense performance, 4 guided bombs, 2 HIMARS rockets, and 141 aircraft-type UAVs intercepted, and you narrow the menu of long-range options the adversary can realistically execute in the near term.
What are your immediate risks and governing priorities over the next 72 hours?
The risks are ammunition expenditure in the counter-battery duel, whether that ground small UAS and blunts our reconnaissance advantage, and any lapse in layered air defense that could invite a precision surge. The priorities follow naturally. Maintain interdiction pressure on depots, EW sites, and radars to keep the sensing and sustainment deficit in place. Rotate assault echelons before fatigue converts momentum into friction. Push sustainment forward with route redundancy so a single interdiction cannot stall a ready sector. That is how positional gains convert into stepwise maneuvers without creating pause points that the enemy can exploit.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to emphasize that those intercepts are not ornamental statistics. They preserve rear area tempo, keeping bridging assets, ammunition points, and casualty evacuation routes within viable risk tolerances. Protection in depth is an enabler of exploitation. It is how you keep the initiative without imposing unsustainable dispersion on your own support echelons. And improved positions become firing positions that are cheaper for us to hold and costlier for them to approach.
This has been Frontline Updates. Subscribe for daily military briefings and in-depth strategic analysis. Visit our platform for maps, transcripts, and exclusive frontline updates from commanders in theater.